In this chapter, we will first describe some important factors that affect organizations. Next, we will discuss managerial implications for dealing with those factors. A factor that most managers face as a challenge is the change of business perspective. More specifically, years ago, most companies that conducted business in foreign countries held an assumption that they were doing international business. This assumption implies that the nationality of an organization has a strong influence on what the organization would do and how the organization would behave. However, because of the advancement in technology and demand for globalization, organizations nowadays recognize the need for conducting business in a global society. Because of the changing business perspective, it is crucial for organizations to adopt the global viewpoint when competing in a global market. For instance, it is important for a foreign organization to understand local cultures in order to be successful. Given this particular challenge, our next focus is on understanding cultural differences. One of the most prominent models of cultural differences is Grid Hofstede's National Culture Model. The model consists of 5 dimensions, including individualism versus collectivism, power distance, uncertainty avoidance, masculinity versus femininity, and long-term versus short-term time orientation. Now, let me explain the meaning of each of these dimensions. First, individualism versus collectivism refers to the degree to which people believe that they belong to social frameworks. Specifically, people under individualistic cultures prefer independence and dislike to work in groups. Meanwhile, people from collectivistic cultures depend strongly on others and prefer to work in group settings. Examples of individualistic cultures are the US and European countries. Examples of collectivistic cultures are China, Japan, and Thailand. Second, power distance means the degree to which people accept unequal distribution of power. Therefore, people from high power distance cultures highly respect authority, formality, and titles. Examples of high power distance cultures are China, Japan, and India. Examples of low power distance cultures are the US and Australia. Third, uncertainty avoidance refers to the degree to which people value security and avoid conflict. Therefore, people in high uncertainty avoidance cultures prefer to seek consensus, avoid taking risks, and have low tolerance to ambiguity. Examples of high uncertainty avoidance cultures are China, Japan, and Taiwan. Examples of low uncertainty avoidance cultures are the US and Australia. Fourth, masculinity versus femininity refers to the degree to which people are oriented to assertiveness and materialism, or are oriented to relationships and concern for others. Therefore, people with masculinity values tend to be assertive, tough, and decisive, whereas people with femininity values emphasize quality of life and relationships. Examples of masculinity cultures are the US and China. Examples of femininity cultures are Finland and Norway. Finally, long-term versus short-term time orientation refers to people's focus of time. In long-term time orientation cultures, people pay attention to the future, whereas in short-term time orientation cultures, people pay attention to the past and present. Examples of long-term time orientation cultures are China, Japan, and Korea. Examples of short-term time orientation cultures are the US and Canada. A second factor that today's managers face is workforce diversity, which refers to all forms of individual differences, including culture, gender, age, ability, personality, religion, social status, and sexual orientation. Increase in workforce diversity poses several managerial questions, such as how to motivate diverse work groups and how to communicate with employees with different values and languages. See slide number 5 for reference. A third factor that managers face is business ethics. To understand business ethics, we must know theories for ethical standards. The theory provides us with 3 distinct theories. The first is called consequential theory, which is an ethical theory that emphasizes the consequences or results of behavior. An example of the consequential theory is that an employee does not engage in stealing behavior because of the negative consequences or results of the behavior, such as being fired. The second theory is called rule-based theory, which emphasizes the character of the act rather than its effects. For instance, a manager treats an employee with dignity because it is the way that the manager wants to be treated. The third theory is called character theory, which emphasizes the character of the individual and the intent of the actor. For instance, a manager does not lie because the manager wants to be an honest person. A last factor that managers face is change in technologies. Given that technologies determine the process of transforming inputs into outputs, managers must provide workers with technical trainings, reduce workers' stress when using new technologies, and utilize technologies to gain competitive advantage.